Welcome to Akhand Vidyashram, the first institute of impeccable wisdom. Let's discuss what the human being, the basic three designs, the integrated consciousness. I am sure everybody is surprised for the picture because you can see only 6 chakras, you don't see 7 chakras, and it's very precise in the middle. You must be wondering why I put this particular picture where man is sitting meditating in lotus pond at the same time with 6 chakras, because that is what Sat Chakra Nirupana is talking about. Talks of 6 chakras, 6 goddesses, internal consciousness, and I do know this is what is the autonomic nervous system alone, which is a centralized part which takes as the homeostasis and perfect human being as far as the perfect human beings are concerned. And it's a conversation only on perfect human being as we see in a living human beings. I am not talking of super conscious other thing, very high level. Let's talk about generally the everybody as such. Now come to the question. Statement Pidandam Brahmandam Ekam. That means the perfect human being and the universe are identical. This is where the higher consciousness comes to the play. You see a different picture compared to what I have put. But I have put 10 chakras, not 6 chakras. 6 chakras is autonomic and complete human being has got 10 chakras. Same thing is reflected in solar system as 10 heavenly bodies. Is again consistent. Similarly, when you go higher up to Aham Brahmasmi, the solar system, spiral galaxy and the Milky Way. In that spiral galaxy from which we are part, there are only 10 suns, not 11 or 9. So you see 10, 10, 10, that is where the perfect integrated human consciousness is all about. Inner is 6, complete is 10. And I think 6 and 10 again have same in the Divyank ratio alone. Now come to the question of human body. Let me make it very clear. It is a bunch of atoms, elements, molecules, compounds, cells, tissues, muscles, organs and integrated system of 10 organ systems and the body. So this is what Rigveda is talking about. This is what Aitreya Upanishad is talking about. We are mineral kingdom, then gone through the plant kingdom to become to animal kingdom to a human being level. So let's talk of the perfect structure as such, which need not necessarily talk of the super consciousness or association with higher consciousness as such. Let's talk of general human being who are not in tune with the inner consciousness, not in tune with divine consciousness, who are following Dvait philosophy. Aham Brahmasmi, I am like God, but does not know. But there is a separation between, which is more into bhakti and other things. Let's talk of that. Now, next thing comes to us, there is 100 trillion integrated human cells, and they are all together to make the human physical body from atoms to this. So then cells come. Then there are 100 billion integrated neuron cells, which is the nervous system which makes us a unique human being compared to everyone else in the universe. Only human beings have the perfect 100 billion cells, and each cell can make 20,000 memory synapses. You can imagine 20 into 100 billion amount amazing human memory and potential is there within every human. We can, the only person who can be walking, talking encyclopedia, because we have that potential. But unfortunately, we do not make use of it. Most of us use only 1 to 2%. Einstein used 11% and became the greatest scientist. And I do know we can use 100% as such, and I'm only trying to do that as such. Now come to the question of the 3 types of human bodies. I said it is ectomorph, mesomorph, endomorph. You can see in male frames on 3 different things, which is recognized with every university, every individual, and is available in Google and other AI, etc. But these are the structure you can see in male and female. How would they be? If they called ectomorph, what will they like? Mesomorph, what they will be like? What endomorph? Let's understand these 3 things step by step to understand general human consciousness or human body and being as such. Now come to the ectomorph, and I make it very clear. Skin, eyes and nervous system develops from ectomorph, that is one layer which is responsible for nervous system, eyes, skin as such. It is a lean, slender build with narrow shoulders, hips, long lips and fast metabolism. Keeping these things in mind, ectomorphs have a difficulty gaining weights or muscle mass and have a delicate bone structure. They are very delicate people, but they could be very, very intelligent. But this is just one of the descriptions given by the science. This is not what I would agree with it. Because as far as I am concerned, every human being has got ectomorph, mesomorph and endomorph together, and they are only put together as they become a perfect human, not as an ectomorph alone. This is, I am only talking about who are predominantly ectomorph. And this is structure you can see, lean, other thing, and people who are like that, who do not put weight and things like that. Slender, gentle, other thing, they cannot be sports people, but they could be very intelligent people otherwise. Now come to the question mesomorph body. A mesomorph body type is characterized by a natural athletic and muscular body, medium bone structure and efficient metabolism, and make it easy to build skeletal muscles and burn fat. These people are very handsome, very beautiful, muscular, strong otherwise. Meso typically have broad shoulders, narrow waist and strong sturdy physique, and they often excel in sports like gymnastics and swimming. Body type responds well to both strength training and build skeletal muscles and cardiovascular meditation to have a very good thing. They are very excellent in sports, in that activity. Let's accept that. And the body of that person will be like this. It's very good structure. And health, length, breadth, everything will be according to Divyank only in this particular case. But I would like to have a combination of all the three together. Now come to the concept endomorph human beings. An endomorph is a body type characterized by rounder, soft tissue with a tendency to gain both fat and skeletal muscle easily. They tend to put on weight. People with this body type often have a wider, stockier bony structure, higher body fat and slower metabolism, make it easier to gain weight and harder. And I would say these are the people who are predominantly into cranial parasympathetic system as such. Typically, body stores fat in their lower abdomen, hips and thighs. And this is what it is endomorph. And this is the structure you can see in that particular thing. Now, as I told you in the beginning, ectomorph, mesomorph, endomorph, three different types as such. But a perfect human being should have a combination shape where he is a tall, well-built, intelligent, superlative, not putting on weight, every metabolism is normal, and he has all the biophysical parameters of a person who even at 70, 80 would be just like 21 years as far as biochemistry, psychology is concerned. That is the perfect human being I am talking about. I am not talking about the three or the different types. The perfect one is an integrated, akhand as such, and we are talking of that. And now comes to the question of homeostasis, to understand how a perfect human being literally leads a life of equilibrium, equanimity, conscientiousness and super. From A to Z, a perfect human being. There is a balance in his life. He doesn't go by this. He is a totally non-aligned, truthful, honest and perfect vegetarian otherwise. Such a character will understand who is a perfect human being, who can be in tune with universal consciousness. Now come to the question, perfect integrated health. Absence of disease is not health. Perfect health is integrated health, includes perfect physical health, perfect emotional health, perfect mental health, equilibrium, integrated social and religious health, spiritual enlightenment and impeccable wisdom. He is a person who knows A to Z of everything, not one other thing. And most of us are good in one art, but this person will be good in all the 64 arts and sciences. Rather, everything A to Z of every subject, he is very clear about it, knows it, and he would know Divyank and the perfect design of nature from beginning to the end without any deficiency at all. That is a integrated human health, and that is a human being I am talking about. Now come to the homeostasis. The continuous maintenance of the external environment of 100 trillion cells of the human body within the normal limits of psychophysiology is important for homeostasis. Now I am making very clear, it's a continuous maintenance. Both external world as well internal world he is in tune with. 100 trillion cells are true, 100 billion neuron cells are truth, and he is a perfectly normal psychologically, physiologically and otherwise. Only that person can be called a perfect human being. And that person will be healthy, wealthy, wise and happy. He will not fall sick, he will not have a disease, he will not have a deficiency, he will be in tune with universe, and that is what I said, Aham Brahmasmi. He is like a real represent a universal consciousness, and that is a perfect human being which I am talking about. Now come to the mechanism of homeopathy definition. The cause and effect that take place within the 100 trillion cells of the human body for normal maintenance of the external environment are the vital aspects of the perfect integrated human anatomy, physiology, biochemistry, psychology and the human behavior. All these factors A to Z of the important human being who is a perfectly walking, talking encyclopedia with wisdom, who has no problem with anybody, who is really Satchitanand, that is, and this is what the value of homeostasis is. You can see the equilibrium. No increase, no decrease is a perfectly normal. Every biophysical parameter in that person will be as good as when he was 21, whatever may be the age group. Let's not talk of the people before 21. Let's talk of the people after 21. If they can maintain, they'll have perfect homeostasis. This and these are the parameters we're talking about. Now comes to the 10 variable homeostasis which are important. First thing which comes to my mind is talk of the water content in the body. I make it very clear according to Divyank. Amount of water on the earth is 61.8034 and solid is 38.1966, and same thing water in the human body is like that. Water in each cell is also like that. Now comes to question of blood volume is only 5.5 liters and sugar content should be 111 milligram per 100 ml of blood all the time. That's the average, will give you a perfect concentration of hemoglobin, glucose and things like that. Normal electrolytes of the body will be perfectly, he'll have pH of 7.4, not acidic, not alkalosis. Normal blood pressure will be, he's a person who maintains an 120/74 blood pressure, and his mean arterial blood pressure will be 93 millimeter, and partial pressure of oxygen will be 100%. Partial pressure of carbon dioxide will also be normal, and perfect acid base balance will be that, and in university temperature will be 37 degrees, and his oxygen content will be 100%, and carbon dioxide expulsion will be 61.80. Every parameter, all the 10 parameters would be functioning with Divyank and Divyank alone. Now comes the two types of homeostasis. You have negative feedback mechanism. The cause and effects are in the opposite direction. Example, blood sugar level. It can go up or come down, but maintain to the same 110. Blood pressure can go up, another thing, but it will come to 120/74. Acid base balance 74. Body temperature 37. These are the parameters which are taken care of the negative, because the system, if it goes, it comes down. If it comes down, it goes up. That is automatically taken care by the 6 chakras which I am talking about. That is the 6 goddesses, and that is what chakra nirupana. This is all beautifully taken care by those 6 centers, the autonomic nervous system itself. And positive feedback and mechanism, the cause and effects are in the same direction, and with the multiple added effects. The perfect example is a childbirth. The bad example is if you have 5 liters of blood. If you lose 1 liter through the negative feedback, it can rectify by mobilizing water and blood from things like spleen and other parts of lower legs, can be mobilized to the center, but 1 liter. But if it is more than 1 liter, then it cannot be mobilized, then it's centralized into the heart, and heart gets tired. In the process there could be a bad condition like death itself. and I should not let do that. This itself will tell you to how to keep the water content as 61.80%, and even given ORS, glucose, saline, water as such to these people, even with the bleeding, they will be perfectly normal. That is what it is all about. Now come to the question, negative feedback mechanism. Blood pressure control and regulates are done like that. And I really mean it. The system is designed in such a way your systolic blood pressure will be 61.803%, diastolic will be 38.196%, and mean artery pressure according to that. Once that is maintained, you will have no stress on your heart, you have no stress in the body, no stress anywhere. You will experience Satchitanand or equilibrium, equanimity all the 24 hours. That's a one beautiful example of negativity, and this is automatically regulated by autonomic nervous system, and that is the 6 chakras I am talking about. I am talking about 6 chakras. I am not talking about higher chakras. This is one concept which is about a cranial parasympathetic like vagus and glossopharyngeal nerve coming to play a role, and sympathetic balance will make sure your heart rate is to 70 and blood pressure is like that. Once that is done, you will have absolutely no problem in leading a very healthy life, because the heart is very important part, and there is a pacemakers in heart which make sure that there is 7th level of energy with the 10 stages of conducting system. The heart can take care of it. Even if sympathetic and parasympathetic fails, heart can still work very well, and that is what I am talking about. Now come to the question of positive feedback is when child is to be born, head comes down and structure started. As the process, the signal goes to the brain, the child to deliver, oxytocin is released by posterior pituitary and is manufactured by hypothalamus comes. That pushes the head, uterus down, head down more, and this process will go on for some time till the child is delivered. For this is the most effective way, and is a positive feedback is the only thing. But unfortunately of late we find people are doing cesarean section and creating the problem, are giving oxytocin unnecessarily, because the human body by and large, if you have been healthy, you will be able to do it without any need from outside. And I think this particular example really makes it very clear that this is what we should maintain, and that could lead to perfectly healthy pregnancy and delivery thereafter, and even life thereafter. It is all within the human body, the females, how they maintain their reproductive system, how they have a perfect health, how they take food, everything which is required, and then they maintain. So as a result, I would say the women should be given better health issues and sports than men, because they need much more, because they have to make sure of the next generation also as such. And I think once that is done, I think you are perfectly clear. Now come to the question of human body. As I told you, solid matter is 38.19%, water is this percent, and this particular thing is the body fluid mechanism itself. And in this you can see the intracellular fluid, extracellular fluid, and this as well interstitial, and the blood content. Once this is maintained, you will have no problem about health. And maintaining this percentage of water and solid in that, including RBCs, maintaining that, if you can do and keep the water, sodium, everything, glucose within the normal, you are perfectly healthy person. Now come to the question of divine the glucose. As I told you very clearly, 111 is the optimum. Range between 80 and 140 is allowed, because fasting up to 80 it can normal, and postprandial up to 140 there is no issue at all. That's the normal which goes on 24/7. But if it becomes below 80 to 68 and more than 140 to 180, that's where the problem comes of pre-diabetic stage, because up to 180 there is no problem, because sugar will not appear in urine. As a result, it is not diabetes mellitus. But potential is there, but it can be rectified with the diet control, exercises and things like that very clearly. But when it becomes lower than that and more than 180, that is where diabetes sets in, and that needs a treatment as such, and we leave it to the doctor as such to how to go about it systematically thereafter. Now comes to the hormonal control of as such, and you can see how hormones also, when they go up they are automatically brought down, when they are down they go up. That feedback mechanism in the body is so beautiful. You have the end center hypothalamus, pituitary, anterior and posteriorly, then organ system, and then entire body. When they work as one unit integrated within those 6 chakras which I talked about it, you will have absolutely no problem. Both autonomic nervous system, endocrine system is internally controlled up to right up to hypothalamus, right up to bottom, and I think that's very important. That control is what I'm talking about. We should maintain that, mean what is required to keep different hormones within control. That kind of food should be taken regularly, properly, and keep a watch on your biochemistry and psychology, that you do not have even single difficulty in day-to-day function at any stage. Now come to the question of the calcium homeostasis, and I make it very calcium and phosphate combination is according to Divyank as such. That is also something which takes place between thyroid, parathyroid, bone, digestive system, all together put together to make sure calcium concentration is 10 milligram, and that is maintained, and this is the picture I am talking about. You should keep an eye on your calcium concentration, sodium concentration, potassium concentration, glucose, water, everything. So that way calcium becomes very important, including magnesium. Now comes the mean arterial blood pressure. As I told you in the beginning, systolic blood pressure 120 mm is a normal, diastolic of 74 mm is normal, pulse pressure of 46 mm is normal, mean arterial blood pressure calculated diastolic blood pressure 74 plus 38.196 the pulse pressure, that is 19, put together is 19. If this is maintained, you will not have any difficulty any stage in that, because that will be perfect homeostasis, not an equilibrium as such to create a problem and give you health issues. And now the partial pressure oxygen, as I told you, sea level in Chennai is 160 millimeter pressure is the partial pressure of oxygen. At alveolar level is 100 and Venus is 38. You see the same divine mathematics here too as far as Divyank is concerned. That's what I meant. Now comes to the partial pressure carbon dioxide. Carbon level is 38.196, expulsion is 61.80, and 38 point carbon dioxide is retained for producing hydrochloric acid in the stomach, or alkaline in the pancreas, or hydrogen chloride in kidneys. To maintain the pH, this concentration very important between oxygen. So no wonder partial pressure of oxygen and carbon dioxide both are very important regarding the pH, along the electrolytes with the glucose, water, everything. I think once these are 10 things, you will be perfectly healthy as you move on. Now comes to the question of the body temperature. 37 degrees is the optimum. Below could be a problem, more could also be a problem. It could be 98.4 degrees as such, and what that is maintained is keep the center. You will maintain perfectly healthy person who maintain 37 degree temperature, not below and not high, would not have any difficulty with any of the functions of human body as such, and I think that is very, very important. Now come to the question of reducing body temperature. Now drinking water, evaporation, conduction, everything put together as such, if you can see in this particular picture, is maintain the water volume as well as temperature together, because they all work in unison with each other. As a matter of fact, water is the most important universal solvent, and it can maintain everything. When you take water, it maintains. When you evaporate water, your body temperature comes down. Heat will make you sweat. When sweating comes, evaporation takes place. When evaporation takes place, your body temperature comes down. This mechanism is there within the human body and is controlled by adrenal gland and hypothalamus as such. Particularly hypothalamus has a center for temperature control, and posterior part of the hypothalamus is sympathetic in nature, which would increase it, and interior part is parasympathetic, which will reduce it. That combination in the center would make sure that you are perfectly healthy, wealthy, wise and happy. Both water content, temperature, and concentration is done, and once you are perfectly normal human being, you will know when sodium is less, or potassium is less, or chloride is less, or potassium, what you say, calcium is less, or water is less, or glucose is less. Your body will tell you, because experience is like that. For a person who is very that person will not suffer from diabetes, hypertension, or any problem for that, because body itself tell you what to take and what not to take. And that particular person, through the perfect diet control called Ayurvedic, would have no difficulty. He'll maintain himself healthy in 70s, 80s, 90s, 100 and plus plus plus. And once that person, I think he will be the intelligent person, his mind will be powerful, he'll be intuitive, he'll be the person who will be able to do wonders. Without physical health, without disease, you cannot really do anything intellectual or otherwise. And I think that is what it is all about. Now coming to the last picture, everything is presented here, but I think for keeping the normal human being who is a perfect thing, I think the information with respect to homeostasis and 10 parameters and other things and how to maintain, I think is enough. I think that's good. Thank you very much.